Hi everybody, welcome to Bulletproof Underwear, episode number 120. Wah! I am your co-host Yamjuice.
And I'm your co-host Flex.
And today we have a very special guest for you. He is a young man who is studying to create video games. He's going to college for that. He's a YouTuber. He's a great Halo player, part of the Halo community. But much more than that, he is also a staff writer. In fact, he is the chief writer for the website Halo Follower, Mr. FrozenSword 17. Yeah! Woot.
Woot. I can only do the one. I got the arm in the sling, so I can only do that one-hand monkey there.
We can assume that you're going woot right now, right? So, Mr. Frozen Sword, should I call you Frozen Sword? Frozen Casey? What do you like?
Some people even call me cornbread, so anything you want to call me.
I saw your cornbread video.
Yeah, that came from when I was in class, a college class last semester. These people said I had a southern accent, so they started calling me cornbread at school.
Your southern accent? I don't hear a trace of southern accent. Just kidding. I grew up in Texas, so I might have just a teeny weeny one. I don't know. Yeah. So okay. So you're a person who is going to school to learn to create video games. What's up with that?
But like, you want to know why I got into it, like my history?
Yeah. Every time we ever get a person on the show for the first time, it's always good to ask them about their gaming history. So what is yours?
Yeah. How'd you start out? What systems did you start out on? And
well, when I was a little kid, my cousins lived with me and my mom. And my cousin was and still is a big gamer too. Not as big as I am now, but at the time he was a gamer when it was still considered like a in-the-closet thing. And he had a Super Nintendo, and he was playing Super Mario World, and he basically handed me a controller and said, play as Luigi. I was 2 or 3 years old at the time, and ever since then, I have his Super Nintendo now. Like, my mom bought it from him. And all of that, so I've gone through the years playing Mario games, Nintendo games. I've PlayStation, and then I got the Xbox with Halo. I played Halo since it came out when I was 7. I've had basically every console since it's came out since I've been alive.
Wow. So do you have the next gen consoles?
Yeah, I got the PlayStation Vita, Nintendo 3DS, Wii U, PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Wow!
All right.
Wow, that's impressive for a fellow your age. You're probably the envy of all you know.
Well, when I'm at college in game design, there's actually a lot of students that have all of them.
Oh yeah, I bet, because you got to keep up with it.
Right. So you started out a Mario kid.
Yeah, and I still get all the Mario games that come out, or the main series, like the platformers and the Mario Karts. Those games. Yeah.
Well, my very first video game that ever really captured me on the home console was Mario Kart Wii.
Yep. I
love that game. I loved it. I beat it to hell and back.
Yam loved that game.
Hey, I wish I had a Wii U now so I could play Mario Kart 8.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty cool.
Well, it's like some parts it looks like you pop out wings and you're gliding and flying and stuff.
That is anti-gravity. Like, you go onto it, and it's like a force field that's like pushing you off against the ground, but it's also keeping you on it at the same time. And you can drive upside down and everything like that.
Oh, wow. And I saw some stuff where you're driving, like, underwater. That's pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah.
All right, so you were so taken by video games that you decided that you want to make video games for your career. Is that right?
It's what I've wanted to do since I was a lot younger.
Wow. So what kind of stuff are you learning?
Well, right now I don't think you really get into learning about making games until your last year, and I'm still in junior for my third year. And right now I am learning like the history of video games in one class, which is the evolution of video games. I'm taking electives right now, and that's one of them, but I feel like it's necessary for me to go into video games because I think you need to know the history so you don't repeat it.
Yeah.
Right, you want to keep things fresh and moving forward all the time.
Innovation.
Yep. Yeah,
that's right. You know what they need to remake is Pong in the next gen.
We actually learned about that.
That was my first video game. We had a Pong knockoff. It wasn't the official Pong, but it was like this little console, this little cheap plastic console, and there was a rotary controller on each, two rotary controllers, one on each side. And so to play, you had to sit close to the other person. And yeah, it was weird. It was like, it was long after the original Pong craze, you know, had started. It was already dying down, so we got a cheap knockoff one. But that was like the 70s.
What do you think's been one of the biggest innovations over the years? I mean, you've obviously seen a lot of change in the industry and in gaming in general. What do you think was one of the big innovations or the big game changers in the history of gaming so far?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the biggest jump would be from 2D to 3D because I remember, I was a little kid, but I still remember it. And a lot of people were saying, don't get Super Mario 64, it would make you sick, you would throw up, and all of that. Well, we got Super Mario 64 anyway, and then really enjoyed it. But I think we're about to see the next leap, too, which would possibly be the last leap. I think the leap to virtual reality would be the same as 2D to 3D. It's just it'd be an evolution of virtual reality. Because in some stories, like anime and books and all that, they get trapped in MMO games. Because of like their mind, they play with their mind, and I think we will get to the point where we play with our mind, and I don't really mind getting stuck and living forever in a game myself, really.
So forget joysticks. This would be perfect for physically handicapped people.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a movie called Lawnmower Man?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Well, I remember it, but I don't.
It was
remember
like the first. It was the first movie that dealt with virtual reality, and anyway, check it out, Lawnmower Man.
Pierce Brosnan.
It's old.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan was in it. That movie's old. I think it's like 20, I don't know when it is.
It's 30 years old.
It's more than 20 years old. So they were talking about virtual reality quite a long time ago. You know, complete with a headset like, you know, the Oculus Rift or what is Sony calling theirs? Project Morpheus. That's it.
Yep, Morpheus for Sony and what? Who bought the Oculus Rift? Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. Facebook bought it. What do you think? What do you think Facebook is buying Oculus for?
Well, I think it's kind of like when it comes to social media websites, you have phases where some die out and others start, and every one of them will go through that. MySpace went through, and I think Facebook is at that point where they are dying out, so they're trying to do what they can to remain relevant, which buying Oculus Rift is a great job of remaining relevant, because that basically puts them like as one of the pioneers in virtual realities since they took it over basically with what I think $2 billion.
A ton of money, yeah, it was a lot. So yeah, Facebook. When you think of them, you think of like Farmville. So there's some video games for you, but for what I understand, like Farmville is one of the games that's played more than, you know, it's got a lot of people playing it. A lot of non-traditional gamers, like female gamers, and, you know, maybe older people.
Yeah, the casual game market has really moved over. Used to, the casual gamers would get more like the most popular console at the time, which was what the Wii really brought in. You had motion control, you had weight-losing games like Wii Fit, everything. And you had the DS, which Nintendo hit the market perfect with that, too. And the casual market was on Nintendo's side, so they were huge. And then when the iPhones came out and Facebook came out with more casual games, people really left the Nintendo handhelds and consoles, so that's why the 3DS and Wii U have been struggling compared to the previous generations, because the casual market really jumped over and it just leaves the hardcore market, which is much smaller, to start buying their products.
Right, and hardcore people, you know, it's well known that Nintendo is not really where they're at. They're more, you know, for Microsoft and Sony. So the Wii was like a phenomenally hot-selling console. I mean, for years, it was hard to get your hands on one. So I guess that must have been before the age of iPhone games and Facebook games and all that.
Yeah, the DS came out in 2004, and the Wii came out in 2006, and smartphones I don't think came out until 2008, and then their games didn't start getting popular until around 2010 to 2012. And the DS is really responsible for the smartphone market, because I believe like Steve Jobs from Apple admitted using the DS as a kind of like a staple point to start at to make their smartphones with touch screens.
Well, so much for innovation. He's robbing Nintendo. So Halo is a big game with you, right?
Saying that is putting it lightly. I'm like a Halo fanatic.
Halo fanatic. I know, because you always start your videos off. You're the Southern Gamer FrozenSword, who's the Halo lore champion, because you beat the crazy Spartan in a Halo lore off. and everybody knows that crazy Spartan is no slouch when it comes to lore.
Yeah, but I just kind of kicked his butt in that match.
Got him in.
How did you guys do that?
Well, it was back when Buckeye started the Behind the Bullet channel and podcast, which it doesn't exist anymore. And sadly, that video was been part of that too, so it doesn't exist anymore. But both me and Craze had this lore-off match where we would ask each other questions, any questions related to Halo lore. And I beat him something like 5-1 or 5-2 or something like that. So I just basically kicked his butt.
Well, now, so obviously you picked some really obscure questions then, if he didn't know the answers to them, I'm going to guess, right?
Well, he had the option to do the same.
Yeah. Well, see, I've talked to him since, and he said he would be willing to try a rematch if you would be up to it.
All I can say is bring it on.
Bring it on. All right. Well, I don't know. Right here on this podcast, Bulletproof Underwear, we have what we do occasionally. We've done it 4 or 5 times. We call it Smarty Pants. It's a trivia show. Now, so far it's just been kind of general trivia, but we could pit you and Crazed in a Halo lore-off, and we would be the ones asking the questions.
I'm willing to defend my championship.
All right. Well, now we've got our marching orders, Flex. We gotta put that together.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. We also it's like I had an idea. Like, okay, let's have a Halo versus Call of Duty versus Battlefield Smarty Pants episode where we get a smart person from each of those games to represent that game and see how they do. And Delementary volunteered for Halo.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think he'd do pretty good.
I think he'd probably do pretty good, but he was the first person to volunteer, so we just need Call of Duty and Battlefield guys to step up and accept the challenge. So are you a person who's played much Call of Duty?
I have something sad to say about that. Is the first time I played a Call of Duty game, and I regret saying it, my first words was, "This is better than Halo." I regret saying that, and I feel like I should be slapped for it. Because there was like this year period that when I played Call of Duty, I was like a Call of Duty fanboy. And then, for some reason, after that, I just went right back to Halo. I got tired of it and went to Halo again.
Which Call of Duty was that made you say that?
It was either 4. I loved 4, and I still think 4 is the best game in the series, but it might have been World at War 2.
All right, so I'm a gamer whose introduction to first-person shooters online was Call of Duty, and I was a pretty big Call of Duty fan up until this year with Ghosts, and that's what made me look for something else, and that's when I found Halo, and I'm very happy to be a fledgling but improving Halo player. we haven't ever played Halo before. We gotta play. I mean, are you playing 3 or Reach or 4 or what?
I usually play the newest one that comes out. It's just I haven't really had time to get on much because during my free time I've been doing articles and coming up with a team for follower network. But here lately I've been trying to get on a little more in my free time.
And you're playing 4?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay, well I'm going to send you a friend request and hopefully what's your gamer tag?
FrozenSword 14, but I'll have to delete somebody off my list first because on my 360 friends list it's still full.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I when I started, playing Halo, I had to clear out some of the dead wood. I know how it is. There's people you haven't played with in a long time. I mean, you can't have 100 people and have all of them playing.
The thing I like about the Xbox One is you can have up to 1,000.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, PlayStation would say, hey, that's nothing. We got 2,000.
I think they did that just to one-up Xbox when they were announcing details. I mean, I think that's all it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like as if any of us needs 2,000 friends. It's like I don't even think I could ever fill up 1,000 friends. It's like I wouldn't even remember who the hell they were. I mean, that's a lot of people. Well, you can follow somebody without actually being on their friends list. I guess.
Yeah, you can follow them now.
You can see what game they're playing or what achievements they've earned or what not. I'm not sure why that would be interesting or cool, but.
Well, it's a thin client, so it runs a lot better, I suppose, faster.
Yeah. So you are on the staff. You are the chief article writer for Halo Follower. How on earth did you get that job? And you're doing a great job of it, by the way.
Well, I'm not only the chief writer for Halo Follower, I'm chief writer of everything for the Follower Network, including all 4 websites. Only 3 are really up. There's Halo Follower, Destiny Follower, Outside Follower, which is going to be like our IGN or Polygon, so it's probably going to be the biggest thing. And then we have our Beware, which is our really designated place for esports. And the thing about that is there's a press release that I actually made that's not uploaded yet or hasn't been published yet. I'm stuttering over my words now. Can't even get my words out. But the press release I created for this Beware hasn't been published yet because we really haven't got everything else ready yet. But as soon as we're ready, I will publish that press release, and it's going to be big news for the Follower Network and especially our Beware esports site. But I'm the chief writer for everything, and the reason that happened was because, I really don't know. I just applied, and he was like, hey, you want to do it? And then eventually he was like, you want to be chief writer? And I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Well, you hit the ground running right after you announced that. It's like the articles were hot and heavy. I saw you put out several articles, very quickly.
Well, most of what I do now, I still do plenty of articles each week, but most of what I do now is I kind of manage the teams behind the curtains. So I had to come up with the teams. I'm still doing that because I had to have 20 members on each team for all 4 teams, so I'm going to have to look for 80 people. I got the Halo Follower team almost filled up, but for the others, I still got people I need to find. And it's just really kind of chaotic but fun at the same time, so I'm not complaining. I enjoy doing it, and it could be my way of entering the game industry.
Well, if you want to go ahead and put out an alert right here on this podcast, anybody watching this can respond and reply. We'll include your Twitter and your channel and the Halo Follower information as well, so you can get a hold of FrozenSword if you are interested. I'll let you tell them what you're looking for.
My Halo Follower team is really filled up, but I'm still looking for a Destiny Follower team, which is people who want to write news and articles and stuff about Destiny. Then my Outside Follower, which is everything gaming, like IGN. Imagine our basically IGN. So if you want to write anything about gaming, if you're Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, you play those very obscure Japanese games, I'm looking for everybody for this team. And then we have our Beware, which is our esports. So if you're into any esports, you're welcome there too.
Okay, so that would include Call of Duty or League of Legends or Dota or any of that, right?
We actually do have a couple guys into League of Legends that are going to be for League of Legends on our Beware site.
We have a Smite player who's just turned pro. He's been on the show. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully we'll net you at least one or two dudes, to join your staff.
Yeah.
So you guys who want to get in on the ground floor, call this man. Send him a message. Or if you send us a message, we'll pass it on.
Yes.
So, all right. So Halo, the Master Chief. You have been writing a lot about the pre-sale numbers for the Master Chief Collection, and should we shoot the messenger?
It's just been like, it really gets me discouraged because of how low the numbers are. I mean, like, we can try to sugarcoat it, and say like, well, the Xbox One doesn't have the fan base yet, but that's not really an excuse. We have 5 million people who already own an Xbox One. Why are the Master Chief Collection pre-orders so low? Because if you look at it at the same time, Halo 4 had almost 1 million pre-orders. Halo Reach had like hundreds of thousands, and even Halo Anniversary, which was just a remake of the first game, had like 200,000 pre-orders, and Master Chief Collection is sitting here at the same time with only 70,000. I mean, like, I don't understand.
I don't either. Well, if anything, 343 and Microsoft have been. Where are they? Where is promotion for Master Chief Collection?
It's non-existent.
I mean, IGN has started, putting up some info, but it's not like the hype machine is in full swing, and that's far from it.
No, it isn't. It's like they're sitting back because so many people already know about the product that they're just like, let's let it sell itself and save the advertising money. Because people that know Master Chief and know the Halo collection, they're going to be willing to buy an Xbox One for it. But as far as pre-orders and stuff, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to check. I don't think I have it pre-ordered.
Well, I have it pre-ordered, but I think I'm going to cancel it because I think I want to buy it digitally. Because you know what? I don't want to have to mess with the disc. I want my Halo at the press of a button. I don't want to have to, like, where's that disc?
Yeah.
I don't
know. How are you going to get it? Are you going to buy a physical copy, or are you going to download it?
When there is an option, I always get physical because I like to see my physical collection of games grow. Like, when people see my games, they're like, I've never seen so many in my life before. It's like you go into my room and you just see a wall of games, and then on top of my games you see Halo merchandise. And then you open my closet and you see like old school games with more Halo merchandise.
Well, damn! I wish you had a webcam working right now.
I do on my other computer. Where this computer is positioned, if it had a webcam, you would see all of my stuff.
Well, you need to get yourself one of those little external webcams, so you can do stuff. Anyway, don't worry. We're not going to hold it against you. So how excited are you for the Master Chief Collection?
Out of a 1 to 10, I'm on the part where I just have to change my pants.
So we're going to get the game, and then like barely a month after we get the game, then they're going to open up the Halo 5 Guardians beta. What do you think about that?
That's what I'm really pumped for. Like, forget Spartan Strike, whatever that game was, the sequel to Spartan Assault. I didn't even really like that game. The Halo 5 beta is what I'm going to basically be spending 3 weeks of my life at.
Your hands are going to be formed in the permanent shape of the controller.
The claw.
You'll never be able to straighten your fingers out.
I already have trouble doing that. Like, I play so many video games, my fingers basically already have arthritis and they hurt to bend them and stuff.
All right. So I'm looking forward to it too. Halo 4 was my first Halo. I'll admit that. I'm not going to lie. Halo 4 was my first Halo. And everybody says it's a bad Halo. And my comeback is, if Halo 4 is a bad Halo, then I can't wait to play a good one.
Well, my opinion on that is I played every Halo game like from day one. And my opinion of Halo 4 is it was actually my favorite. I mean, I know the multiplayer had its problems, but the campaign, I think, is the best in the entire series, just because they actually go into Master Chief's character and explore his personality and his relationship with Cortana. And, like, I had man tears rolling down my face at the end of that game.
Yeah. Well, it is good. It's very, very good. I mean, I played the Halo Anniversary campaign so far, but that's the only other Halo campaign I've played. And I liked it. Everybody says it's like one of the best. It was pretty good. I thought the Force was definitely more fun, though. Yeah. So all right. So the gaming situation is going to be hot and heavy. Call of Duty is coming out, then Halo is coming out, and then just down the road, then Battlefield's coming out. Just like always, it's like. But Destiny is still going. Destiny came out last month. What is your opinion on Destiny now that it's been out a month? And I know you play it.
I actually wrote a review for that was Chris was supposed to make for a video for Destiny followers YouTube channel, which hasn't gone up yet. So I can't very well give my exact rating of it yet, because I think I would get in trouble for that since the video is not up yet. But I can talk about what I think about it.
Okay.
And the gameplay is very solid. Like, you can tell Bungie spent a lot of time making the gameplay fun. But one of the things Bungie heavily marketed Destiny as was a great story. They said that they wanted Destiny to be comparable to the stories of like Star Wars and to be able to compete with their previous games like Halo, how Halo had such a great story. And they kept talking about the story over and over again. And then you play the game and there's basically no story to it. And that's basically, I keep saying basically a lot, but it is basically false advertisement that they kept talking.
So were they beating the drum about the story? I don't really remember. In all the hype, it was a blur. So were they actually talking about the story a lot?
They were saying like it would have like a good story, compete with Star Wars and all of that.
Wow, it's a mishmash. It's basically gibberish. It's like you're Guardian, you have to, defeat the forces of the darkness. You are the forces of the light. And here's your little buddy on the way.
Yeah.
A little light. Yeah, Peter Dinklage is probably not going to be the very first line that he puts on his resume in the future. It's like, oh, yeah, that was me. I admit it. I don't know, for those Game of Thrones fans who are maybe expecting a little more. I got tired of it. I hit level 21 and just doing the same stuff over again.
Quick, you hold off these people while they attack us, and I'll save us by hacking into this firewall.
Yeah, I'm going to hack into this, and you fight these 3 waves.
And then in the next scene it goes, hey, hold off them fallen. We got to hack this firewall, Don't you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes,
I know.
If you play the northern version, he goes, don't you know? Like that.
That's it. Well, he's no Cortana. As far as he serves the same purpose as Cortana. Just like it gives you like a narration and somebody to detail the story elements such as they are. And also to instruct you on what where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to do. Anyway, I know a lot of people really like the game, but there's people that are not thrilled about the game. But it seems like it's got some kind of legs. I'm not sure. It still seems like a pretty good amount of people are still playing it.
It does.
Well, they kind of have to keep content going since it is an MMO. It's an MMO game, so people are going to keep playing it just because it's an MMO game. And the MMO games are addictive. I'll admit that I put thousands of hours in Phantasy Star Universe for the 360. And it's like, once you play an MMO game, you can't stop, and then they keep providing more content throughout the weeks, and you just want to play more and more.
Yeah, well, this one is like, I got to get them new boots, man. I got to get them new boots. I need shards. Anyway, that's just me capping on Destiny. If anything, Destiny pisses me off because it's like maybe taking away players from Halo. That's the only thing I think of. Do you think when Halo comes out, that a lot of the people playing Destiny are gonna like turn it off and go to Master Chief?
I actually think that Destiny helped Halo, because Halo at one time was the #1 game in the entire world. That's what everybody played from like 2001 to 2008. And that's a long time, an 8-year span for a game to be #1.
Mm-hmm.
And then around for 2009, people went from playing the sci-fi games to the military arcade shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And a transition happened. I mean, Halo games still sold well, but people didn't very well like play them for that long times of a period. Like they might play it for a week or two and then jump back to Call of Duty. And people have just been playing those military shooters mostly. But I think we're going back to the sci-fi genre, because even Titanfall is a sci-fi game. The next Call of Duty game is a sci-fi game. And then Destiny is a space-age sci-fi game. And I think it's bringing people back to the sci-fi genre. So when Halo 5 comes out next year, I don't know about Master Chief Collection because the pre-orders are so bad, but when Halo 5 comes out next year, I think it's going to help boost Halo 5 population and sales.
Well, you're right. All the new games coming out seem like they're science fiction versus like khaki and M16s and all that kind of stuff, which had our fill of with Battlefield and Call of Duty, and what was that other game that the DICE, or not DICE, but EA made that they canceled?
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor, yeah. Medal of Honor is dead.
Wow.
They're not bringing it back.
Yeah, they're not bringing it back. They finished off that franchise. They shut it down with the last one.
Yeah. So are you a Battlefield guy?
I used to be into Battlefield 4, and that game, like, I played it, and it just felt like it was not even made that great. I mean, like, when you play it, and it, like, crashes right as soon as you get into the game, and I felt like it was cheap made, and they just rushed it out.
Yeah.
And I really like the Bad Company games. Those, I think, are the pinnacle of the Battlefield games with a story, and I don't really see myself ever buying a Battlefield game again unless they do a Bad Company 3.
Okay, well, just so anybody who knows, who's watching this right now, currently Xbox Live, anybody who's got a membership to Xbox Live can download Battlefield Bad Company 2 for free right now.
Yep.
So if you're interested, I mean, the game is old as dirt, but they're giving it for free. So what are you going to say?
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know. I think maybe 2010 or something it came out.
Yeah, it's a couple of years old.
Yeah. So anyway, so I know from following you on Twitter that that there's another issue that's pretty near and dear to your heart. I don't really understand it or know what it is. What I'm talking about is something called Gamergate.
Oh yeah, I knew we were.
Do you want to talk about that?
It's something that it's kind of tricky because the media has been twisting it to what they want you to know. And they've been telling people it's like a war on women and stuff like that, and that's not at all what it is. And then
what is Gamergate? Probably some people watching this don't even know what that is.
Gamergate is basically the revolt against gamers, or with gamers against like the game journalism and the game developers and their corruption. It's actually been like revealed over the past couple months that the game developers and game journalists have been like being buddy and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but they've kind of been like sleeping their way to the reviews and stuff like that.
Right. Okay, so that there is a case where somebody actually was sleeping their way. the famous Zoe Quinn, what's her independent game? Depression Quest. Depression Quest. Yeah. Okay. So she had this game, and she was in a relationship with a writer from Kotaku. Is it?
I can't remember, but it was like 5 people at the same time.
Oh, okay. So she's like really spreading it around.
And she also had a boyfriend at the same time. He's the one that leaked all of this.
Right. Okay. So is there truth? Did these allegations turn out to be true? Was she actually having affairs with these people? It
was never come out to be true. It was just like have like strong evidence. And she's not even really the topic in Gamergate anymore. The topic now is, I can't pronounce her last name, but the Anita Sarkeesian or something like that.
Right. I know about her.
Like, she's saying that this is like a war on women, like gamers against women. But I actually think it's like radical feminists in games having a war on men, because they don't want like men showing their masculinity in video games. And like, you're men, you're going to be masculine.
Right. Okay, so Anita Sarkeesian has a YouTube channel which she funded with a Kickstarter campaign, which netted a sizable amount of money. I don't have the figure in front of me, but she got a lot of money pledged to create this YouTube channel called Feminist Frequency. And on that channel, the whole thing is just basically showing what she perceives as oppression and objectification and that sort of thing against women. The video games industry is basically against women, is what she's trying to say.
Yeah, like, I don't get it. She is like attacking Nintendo for having Mario rescue Princess Peach. That is dumb in itself, because that's what the entire game has been about. That's not being sexist or anything like that. You have the gentleman hero rescuing the princess that's being kidnapped by the villain, and the gentleman hero has to go rescue the princess that he loves dear to his heart. And I don't see anything sexist about that. It's basically a man doing what men would do in that predicament.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but that's not the only thing that the video game, sexism people are trying to say. Like games like Grand Theft Auto, where women are like killed and they're wearing next to nothing, and they're objects, and they're not even playable characters and that sort of thing. So I think they want to put an end to that kind of thing.
Like, I don't really play Grand Theft Auto because I feel awkward if I would play something like that, because it makes me feel awkward to like play a game where you're like driving a prostitute around. But I think
shooting cops.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the game developers' design choice. Like, video games are an art form, and you can't force political correctness on art. It just doesn't work out. Like, you just let the game designers make what they want to make, as long as it's not like something like too bad, like wouldn't reach the rated M thing. But as long as it's rated M or below, they can make anything they want to. It's an artsy type of thing, and I think like these political correct people should just stay away from it and let game developers make what they want to make.
Right. Well, it's a free country, so they have the right to say whatever they want. I tend to agree with you that these are creations. These are artistic creations, but they're also financial creations. Sometimes games are designed by some person with a vision, but sometimes they're designed by kind of a committee. It's like they're trying to make a game that sells the most possible copies. So the art is debatable in some games, but the good games, the best games, yeah, they are subjects that it's a creation of a work of art in some way. It's an interactive art.
There are actually two things I could bring up on that. The first being is, like, when Assassin's Creed Unity was announced, that you had four playable characters and they were all male. Like, Anita Sarkeesian and all of them like started attacking it for all four characters being male. Well, the thing is that's their design choice for all four characters to be male. Like, you don't have to complain about games not having females. The previous Assassin's Creed Liberation, had a female character. You've had like female characters throughout history that have been big. Like, you've had Metroid, Tomb Raider, and so many others. It's like they choose to ignore those and just attack video games that have males as the hero. And it gets on my nerves, because it's like, let's throw logic out the window and just attack this one single game because all the heroes are men.
Right. Well, one of my very favorite game franchises is Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2. And each one of them, there's only 4 playable characters, and they had a female character in each one. And they had a black guy in the first one, and 2 of the characters were black, and the second one, and they had a female. So I mean, they're kind of like, they're kicking ass. They're not sex objects. They're they're wielding guns and taking names. So anybody who wants to see a positive portrayal of women, they're like right next to the men. And it's like, if you choose to be that female character, you're not any weaker or there's no downside to picking that character. That's a choice that you make when you pick your character.
Can I talk about like Bayonetta 2 for a second?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, Bayonetta 2 has received critical acclaim. Like, it has a 91 on Metacritic, and everybody was giving it good reviews. And then you look at Arthur on Polygon, and he gives it a 7.5, and he never complains like about the gameplay or the story. He goes, I'm giving it a 7.5 because Bayonetta as a character is over-sexualized. It's like, you should leave your personal agenda out of the review. Reviews are to tell people how good a game is, not what your personal opinions about what should or should not a character be in a game. And
right. I read his review, and I listened to him on that podcast just earlier before I had this conversation here, because I knew that was going to come up. And I agree with you. Everybody said Bayonetta was amazing, and he gives it a 7.5. And he's defending it on the podcast, based on the fact that she's too sexy and she's too revealing, and her clothes get ripped off.
Well, but that's part of video games, man.
But it looks like a blast. The game looks out. It's like watching the clips of that game. It's like I wish I had a Wii U.
I mean, I played the first game and it's amazing, and I already have the second game pre-ordered and paid off. I just had to pick it up when it comes out. And I don't see that game being sexist in any way. You have a strong female character that is proud of who she is, and all she's doing is showing of how proud she is to show herself. And it doesn't really show her nude at all. It's basically her being proud of her sexuality and being able to basically kick butt while doing it.
Well, butt is something that she kicks plenty of. I mean, she goes ham. She's got guns blazing and karate kicks and like swords and everything. It's just like she's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think that she is pretty skimpily dressed. I mean, from what I see, she's a vixen, but she's kind of like the naughty librarian. She's got those like glasses and everything. I don't know. I think they make these games to appeal to dudes who are the ones who play these kind of games. I mean, there's some women who play action games and shooters and stuff like that. We know a couple of them, but
mostly directed to men.
But for every woman that plays a game like that, there's going to be 50 or more guys playing it, probably. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I actually forgot what I was going to say here. Let's see if I can remember it real quick.
They make these games for men and teenagers and maybe even boys. That you shouldn't be playing rated M games, but they do anyway. Squeakers.
Oh, now I remember. Okay. Like, you do have games that appeal to everyone, and then you have some games that are specifically made, like it's the designer's choice to make it specifically for men. And I think Bayonetta 2 is one of those examples. Like, you can't complain about it being made for men. Like, I don't look at it and, like, I'm not advertising it out there or anything like that, but Playboy is made for men. Like, you can't complain about it not being for women. It's made for men. Like, it's like Bayonetta, too. It's made for men to play, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Nope.
But see, our favorite game that you and me like, and Flex likes too, is Halo. And in Halo, you've got Cortana, which is a very strong character and a very central character. She's not a playable character. You're playing the Master Chief, but Cortana is one of the main pillars on which the story is built.
Yeah,
and in the multiplayer, at least on Halo 4, you can choose to be a female Spartan if you want.
Halo Reach and 3 too.
Okay, well, like I said, Halo 4 is my first Halo, so I don't know about the older ones. So yeah, they've had playable females going back to Halo 3, really?
Yeah.
Wow. And I guess Call of Duty thought it was a big deal that they came out with it last year. Well, but then on the other hand, the feminists would claim that Cortana, even though she's like a fleshed out character, even though she's an artificial intelligence and she's important to the story, she is basically naked. I mean, you know, she's got that blue stuff going on, but I mean, you just see her body, and she's pretty much, you know, pretty much buck naked.
Yep.
And she's kind of babylicious. So I don't know how to take that, whether that's a point in their favor or a point against them. You know, it's like, what do you think about Cortana?
I think Cortana is a strong female lead, but even people like Anita were complaining about Halo 4 about how Master Chief had to rescue Cortana and how that would put her in a damsel in distress. But it's like, again, are you really going to call out every single time a guy rescues a girl in a game? But and then Cortana at the end of the game saved Master Chief, actually, because when she attacks the Didact, he was about to kill Master Chief and throw him into the slip space.
Yeah. Well, there's another important character in Halo 4. Is that Dr. What's her name?
Dr. Halsey.
Yeah, Dr. Halsey. Yeah. Okay, so she's not babylicious at all. She's like an old gal, but she's a very important part of the story as well. So females are represented in that game, and they're not all half-naked, you know, hotties.
Well, actually, Dr. Halsey is considered in the Halo universe the smartest human to live currently. And Cortana was actually created from
like a manifestation, right?
Yeah, Cortana was created from a clone of Dr. Halsey's brain, and I think it's not ever confirmed, but it's thought that Cortana actually designed her own body based after a younger Dr. Halsey.
Wow, it must have been a much younger Dr. Halsey.
Yeah. Way younger.
So is Dr. Halsey coming back in Halo 5 Guardians, you think?
I think so, because she's a main character. She's been a main character since the beginning, but she's just been in the books. Then she got introduced with Reach, and with 4, she is like one of the only people that Master Chief feels close to. Cortana died, but then there's Blue Team, which is Master Chief's team. And then you have Cortana, which is like not Cortana. You have Dr. Halsey, which is like the mother figure to the Spartans. So Master Chief kind of looks up to Dr. Halsey as a mother figure.
Right. Well, she sort of kind of made him what he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else that we want to talk about on this Gamergate? Because I know it's a pretty complicated subject, and I was trying to wrap my head around it. I know that there's threats. There's threats of violence against these various women, and they are claiming that the Gamergate is responsible for these death threats and threats of violence and rape, and they're like forcing them out of their homes and this stuff. I mean, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's like somebody doing something random and relating them to a group. Like, you're going to have psychos that do stuff like that. I mean, like, that's what they are. They're psychos that go out and they threaten people. Like, they are not related to Gamergate. They could claim they are related to Gamergate, but they're still not. They're just using them, saying, like, these feminists are using these people who use threats against them and stuff, saying they're Gamergate just to push their own agendas and say that Gamergate, we the gamers are the one at fault and all that. And it's just like everything that's happened is just basically them spinning the needle around their finger, or spinning the thread around their finger, making the media believe what they want to believe, and then the media pushes it on all the people that have no idea what's going on. So, like, the entire world comes against us with that.
Well, it seems like from what I've seen, the the impression is it's even been on the New York Times. It's been on, NBC. It's like it's hit the mainstream television and websites, this Gamergate thing, and it always seems to be associated with these violence threats. It appears that they're in the public's mind, they're kind of one and the same. Gamergate equals violence against women is basically the impression I think most people would get if they're look into Gamergate.
Yeah, that's what the media wants people to believe too, and those feminists. They want the world to believe that gamers are evil, and it's come down to, like, in the 80s. I wasn't alive in the 80s, and I was young in the 90s, but like gamers were considered like these nerds that were antisocial. They could like kill people at a moment's notice and all that. And these radical feminists have really sent gamers back to that time period, and we're viewed the same way we were as we were in the 80s.
Yeah, well, games are mainstream now. It's like the game consoles are in the majority of homes in America. So it's pretty mainstream. It's like the revenue from video games exceeds the revenue from movies.
I think that's been going on for a long time too.
For a while, yeah. I mean, it's like it's gotten to be a mature thing. It's not like we just woke up and now we're mainstream, but we've been mainstream for a while.
I believe that our history of video games teacher actually said that the video game industry actually follows the movie industry almost exactly. Like, we've had the crash right when the movie industry had the crash, then we went back up. And he said we're actually heading towards a second crash where he says video games will never die out, but we are heading to a crash where video games get under the radar again, and people just don't want to play them because quality's going down, like Destiny, for example. Like, the media has been shown to be corrupted with the gamergate showing all that now, and like the entire base of the game industry is coming unraveled. On the surface, it looks like it's bigger than ever, but under, it's falling apart.
Yeah, well, I don't get my games journalism that much from these big sites like IGN, Kotaku, and Polygon. I get my game information more from YouTubers that I trust, guys and gals that that you're pretty sure that they're not on the take. They're not they're not bought and paid for.
No, so they're the real deal.
Yeah, it's like, I guess, just a gamer's responsibility to find sources of independent information that's unbiased. Like I like Angry Joe. I mean, it's like he gives, whenever he reviews something, it's an extensive review, and he brings up all the positives and all the negatives, and then he gives his impression of it, and it's like, I just don't think that Angry Joe is lying to us.
Yeah, I watch like Review Tech USA and Alpha Omega Sin, and I'm not really subscribed to Boogie, but I do watch him sometimes because he's been in the Gamergate war too, and he actually got hacked by somebody that claimed to be on the other side, but that was never in the media, of course. But and I'll say I don't think that was the other side. I just think it was some psycho that went after him for being on the side of Gamergate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I subscribe to him. He seems like just a rock solid advocate for the gamer himself, or herself. He's for the gamer, and if he sees a situation where some game developer or publisher is doing us dirty, he's going to point it out, and that's what I like. I like to know when they're trying to butt rape us.
And he has the power too.
He does. He's got a pretty big platform, and some of these guys do. I mean, Angry Joe's got a lot of subscribers. Boogie, Review Tech, he is such a sarcastic guy. I don't know. I subscribe to him, but he's kind of a nut.
Sometimes he has a good point, and then other times he doesn't. Like, he was complaining about Halo 2 Anniversary not being completely 1080p because it ran two engines at the same time, and he didn't want to play the old engine and stuff when most of us actually do. I like switching.
I do. I want to see the old engine.
I like switching between and seeing the difference in graphics.
I know when I played Halo Anniversary CE, I played the whole thing on the old graphics because I wanted to experience it the way. It's like, yeah, the modern graphics look okay. They're not impressing me. They're certainly not impressing me. It doesn't look like, Halo 4 blows its doors off as far as the way it looks. But, it was sort of cool playing with those low texture, the original graphics. It's like, I don't know. It was a kick. It was a definite kick. The warthogs and, the enemies and everything in that old-fashioned graphic style. It was fun. I could get into retro gaming.
It's really cool, to see how time has progressed and how video games have evolved, and that really shows it to us.
Right. Well, when the PS3 and 360 came out, the first couple of years, the games that came out on those systems were a joke as far as like how sophisticated they looked and everything. It's like what you thought was great when those consoles came out. It's like by the end of their life cycle, or now, I guess, you see games. It's like the 360 can play Titanfall and it looks fantastic, and the PS3 and the Xbox 360 can play Destiny and it looks very, very good. And you got games like The Last of Us, which are pretty amazing. The difference in the console generation from the beginning to the end are amazing, and they already are looking pretty good now. It's gonna be interesting to see where they take it. They're gonna learn how to make all these games in 1080. I think. I mean, they have to optimize the hardware. They have to learn how to use the resources that the consoles have. But in the meantime, games that play at 900p, they look amazing. They look fantastic. I don't know. I don't care about the 1080 thing. As long as it looks really good, I'm pretty happy. So that brings us to the PC Master Race. Are you a member of the PC Master Race?
I will stay with console gaming until it dies, which will probably be never.
There you go.
So you're not saving up for your $5,000 graphics card?
I started on a console with a Super Nintendo, and I'll probably die with one now. There are some PC exclusive I'll buy for the PC that I might enjoy, but for the most part, on my multi-platforms, Xbox One. I even have a PS4, but I still find I like the controller to the Xbox One more, so I play all my multiplayer games or multi-platform games on the Xbox One.
Yeah, so what's your favorite PS4 game so far?
Well, I only have like 2 AAA games, The Last of Us and Knack for PS4, and I've only played The Last of Us for it. And I don't get what the hype behind it was. I mean, the story was good, but the gameplay was nothing innovative. I mean, it's like I played, not thousands, I played plenty of games like that before, and I just don't really see what the big deal about The Last of Us was.
Oh, so you're just not a big zombie kind of a fan, apparently.
Well, I love The Walking Dead and stuff like that. It's just I just couldn't get into The Last of Us. I beat the entire game, and even the DLC, I just couldn't get into it.
Did you get Dead Rising for the Xbone?
I got the one that was free on the Xbox 360, but besides that, I've never really played a Dead Rising game.
Yeah, well, it looked pretty good on the Xbone. I mean, I didn't get it because I've tried, Dead Rising before, and it just didn't really appeal to me. I loved Left 4 Dead, and I even like Black Ops Zombies. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sort of bummed that this year we're not getting a zombie game on our Call of Duty. I'm getting Call of Duty. Are you going to get it?
I haven't got one since World at War.
Oh, you're a purist.
It's not like the games themselves. It's what Activision does behind the scenes. Like, they have basically destroyed other games just to put Call of Duty at top. And there was actually an article released not long ago, a few weeks ago, where one of the directors of Call of Duty actually said that he used the term brainwash, that he brainwashed gamers to buy Call of Duty whether they liked it or not. He made them think they liked it because they would put advertisements everywhere and basically brainwash people to go, oh, I want to buy that. And even if you didn't like it, you would say you liked it because your friends liked it. And it would be like a psychological level of stuff.
Okay. Well, I don't exactly think EA are Eagle Scouts when it comes to ethical business behavior. I mean, they were voted worst company in the world 2 years straight.
Running.
Yeah, they missed out last year. They didn't take the crown, but a lot of people have problems with them. And Bungie developed Destiny, and so I don't know who are the good guys. Are there any good guys? I mean, who are the good guys?
I would say Nintendo is still a good guy because they've remained pure throughout the years.
Okay, so Nintendo are the good guys. Activision, EA. What do you think about Ubisoft? Ubisoft, however you want to say it.
Kind of half and half because they've done some questionable stuff too, but they still they've managed to be able to make Assassin's Creed games year after year and them not be lower in quality. Like each one still has a good story except for 3 that was crap. But with 4, great story is like, I'm just kind of split on Ubisoft. I do think Xbox is going in the right direction to be a good guy now with Phil Spencer as the head now too.
Yeah, everything I've heard, all his moves that he's made have been pretty positive compared to Don Matrick, whatever his name is. That guy was a jerk.
He's over Zynga now.
He's with Zynga. You know, Zynga is. I pass Zynga every day. I live in Oakland and I work in San Francisco, and my commute I pass Zynga every single day. You can see it. They've always got an ad for whatever their game they're pimping at the moment. You know, like a big billboard, like on the side of their wall of their building. Something
interesting about Phil Spencer is, I don't want to say for sure, but I believe he did say that he actually owned a Wii U and PlayStation 4, as that he enjoys all the consoles.
Well, there you go. Okay, he's a gamer. Mm-hmm. He's a gamer. Who do you want, you know, at the head more than an actual gamer? Most of these guys are suits, and they probably actually secretly look down on gamers.
Yeah, he said like all companies are doing a great job, and he said he enjoys all games, and he even had a talk with the guy over the PlayStation division over Sony about Minecraft, since Microsoft owns it now, and they talked about it. He said, yeah, you can still keep Minecraft on the PlayStation systems.
Yeah. Who knows what the hell Microsoft is thinking about with that big giant acquisition of Minecraft?
You know what I would do if I was at Microsoft?
What would you do?
With it being on PlayStation consoles, since Microsoft would run everything that happened in the game. So right when you got on PlayStation 4, turned on Minecraft, I would put an advertisement that said, buy the Xbox One, $4.99 or $3.99. Like every time they got on and played it on the PlayStation, just advertise the Xbox with
it. You don't think that would make PlayStation guys mad? You know, those Sony ponies are a pretty sensitive breed.
I'd be like, suck it up. I have a PlayStation 4 and enjoy it. You can get an Xbox One and enjoy it.
There you go. In a perfect world, everybody would have all the consoles and there would be no fanboys.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a perfect world.
Yeah. So is there anything that you would like to plug or promote at this time?
I was going to cut a joke, but it wasn't really that funny.
Well, if you want to, go for it.
I saved 15% by switching to Geico.
Good for you.
I didn't really. I just thought it was funny because that's what you always see in commercials.
I like the Geico commercials. I mean, they got the talking lizard. They get the caveman. You know, it's like, it's Affleck has the duck. I like the duck.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I think we should wrap it up here. So this has been Bulletproof Underwear, episode number Flex. What is it?
120.
And I've been your co-host, Yim Juice.
And I've been your co-host, Flex.
And we would like to thank Senior FrozenSword, Casey, Cornbread.
You had to get that in
there. What's up, Cornbread? So anyway, so now that you've been on the show, we've got to play together. We got to all like get together and play something.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this has been episode number 120. If you're still watching at this point, get a life. So there's it's that time. I don't know if you've ever watched an episode of our show. When we get to this point in the show, there's this thing that we do, and you don't have a webcam, so you can't do it, but me and Flex will demonstrate. Next time you show, maybe you'll have a webcam. Or can we get you on the show again?
Well, if you want to, real quick, I could get on my other computer. I mean, my voice would sound a lot worse, but I could get on it on Skype.
Nah,
you don't gotta
do
that.
We'll save it for next time. So here we go.
All right.
I know you're cut out for that, man. You'd be cut out for that.
All right.
So, Mr. Cornbread, thank you for being on the show. And there's only How many things left to do, Flex?
One thing left to do.
Take us out.
Take us out.